Welcome to another installment of Long Story Short Members Chat, the show where we interview members of Austin's community. Our Long Center members and some ACG members are joining us today live for our taping and will have a chance to ask their own questions. We want to thank them for continued support. We couldn't do this without you. If you'd like to become a member of the Long Center and join us for the Long Story Short Members Chat that's next, sign up at thelongcenter.com. No, thelongcenter.org. My name is Shana Brown. I'm the founder of Shaboom Audio and a board member at the Long Center. I'm also a big fan of Austin Classical Guitar, and our guests today, Artistic Director and Composer in Residence at Austin Classical Guitar, Joe Williams, and ACG intern, Lennox Kolics. Welcome to the show, Joe and Lennox. We're very happy to have you with us today.
Thank you for having us. This is wonderful to be with you.
Indeed.
So for those who aren't aware of Austin Classical Guitar, tell us about your organization.
Absolutely. So, I used to get frustrated when I would think about this because Austin Classical Guitar does a lot of things, but I love that our story is a complicated story. And at the heart of it, I think it's important to know that our mission is to inspire individuals in our community through musical experiences of deep personal significance. We worked really hard on that mission. And really at the heart of that is we believe that music has meaning and power, and we try and find as many situations to bring that into the room as possible. And so for Austin Classical Guitar, that means we've been presenting concerts and art experiences for about 30 years. This is our 30th season actually that we're going into. And we also have been doing work in program building and education, specifically in Austin Independent School District for the last 20 or 19 years. We've also been doing work in hospitals and places really centered around healing and using music as a medium for healing and helping people understand where they are and where they're going. So that's who we are.
I love that so much. So we've loved hosting ACG performances at the Long Center over the years, but obviously these are new strange times and we can't do that. So how is ACG staying connected? And also surely the need is very deep right now in all of our society and all of our population. People are feeling alone and disconnected and really struggling and hurting. So how is ACG meeting that need and staying connected?
Well, I think we as an organization feel so lucky to be able to bring people together. When we think about music in general, our role is really bringing people together. And that didn't change with the pandemic. And really the pandemic has been like a clarification of that role. And so we've been searching for ways to do that and done that in a couple different ways. Our team is really very talented. I have to brag on them because when the pandemic hit, by the end of the month, we presented our first streaming concert, and it was a live concert. And we had to do it because unique art experiences that happen and then disappear are of value for, I think, our audience and for people, because it gives a means to deeply engage in that moment. It stops time in a way. And so we worked really hard, and we've done now about 7 of those and did some kind of interactive storytelling, kind of YouTube watch party things, just kind of sharing about our organization. And that's on the concert side. On the education side, we just finished a teacher summit. Maybe I'll let Lennox, because Lennox is involved with that. Maybe you can speak about that. Well, actually, Lennox, what you just finished with this, what has that been? Well, tell us what it is, and then maybe how you think it's been keeping people connected.
Yeah, so there were 2. The Teacher Summit is something that ACG and GuitarCurriculum.com puts on every year, I believe, and it's been going on for quite a while. And we had 2 sessions, which I helped with on the back end. The ed team is just amazing, and they reshaped everything so that There were live sessions, there were assignments in Canvas, which is what a lot of people will be using. And so just getting teachers on board with teaching guitar in the classroom and still being able to overcome this like really weird barrier of uncertainty and remote learning. So that's been a bit different this year compared to last year. But it's been really beautiful and inspiring seeing the teachers come in on the first day and just be like, and just completely unconfident in their ability to teach their students and convey their passion. And then just by the end, just blossoming with all these ideas and having hope and feeling a bit more confident. It's been really amazing. So I'm not a teacher, but like teachers are cool.
You know, Lennox, I can't help but add to that awesome insight is that this is hundreds of teachers from around the world who are looking at their future and how they're going to continue education, and really using this summit as a way to make plans, but also connecting with each other, you know, and really leaning on each other for support. That's been an inspiring thing to see.
Lennox, how long have you been involved with ACG?
Oh gosh. So I started playing guitar when I was 5. So I went to my first ACG concert in 2007. I was the youngest person there, and it was really weird, but it was really cool. So that was my first ACG experience. My guitar teacher at the time was a student of Matt Hensley, who's the executive director of ACG. And then I became Matt's student in 4th grade. Yeah. So I don't know what age that was. And then when I was in 6th grade, that's when ACGYO, the youth orchestra, started up, which Joe directs and conducts. So I was in that 6th through 12th grade. And I just finished up my senior year of high school. And then last summer was the first time that I interned with ACG and did stuff in person. And I did stuff on and off with them in sort of an intern role during the school year. And then I'm back on board full whatever, full force for the summer. So it's been like a majority of my life.
Yes.
So in this time, this different time, for both of you, are there any specific projects, ACG or otherwise, that are helping you get through and feel connected and get out any negative things, to be the catharsis?
Well, I think we've been working in a variety of ways, and I think a wonderful example of this is 2 projects that Lennox is involved in. Maybe, you know, Lennox, you were in March when we could not meet as part of the ACGYO, the Guitar Youth Orchestra. We made a lot of pivots, and I think it might be interesting to hear what that was for you.
Yeah, so the pandemic hit like hardcore, and school shutting down and everything right like literally days before we were about to go on our ACGYO New Mexico tour, which we were really looking forward to. But that didn't happen, and that was very disappointing. But we quickly switched to meeting on Zoom. And at first it was just like talking, because it's like, what can we do? We can't play music in time together. Like, are we preparing for an end of the season? Like, what's even happening? And then that turned into a more workshop sort of thing. And then we were like, well, we want to make music, you know? And so we did. Joe pitched this idea for us to take a pretty simple piece called Malagueña that Travis Markham arranged, and just have everyone noodle around with it and then record themselves, and then have it all put together and make our own ACGYO rendition of Malagueña. And that was really, really great, because it's like, it's not the same as playing together in person, but it's like, it was still something that we were working towards, and it was really great to just sit on Zoom and be like, I have this idea for this variation, and just brainstorming that way, and then record it separately and then see it come to fruition. So it was a really wonderful way to make music in a different way without trying to replace something that can't be replaced, you know?
Yeah. For those watching, I know Lennox because you guys came in and you recorded some pieces for the program at my studio, and Lennox came in and engineered. So it sounds like that was a pretty good primer for Malagueña and getting everyone through recording on Zoom. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Lennox, you can talk to it, but I mean, from the outside, I think about connection here. That was like an amazing opportunity to go into a professional studio for Lennox, and then basically flex some skills, because those skills totally came into play
Good.
for Malagueña. I mean, Lennox, maybe you're too humble, but Lennox took like the 15 different parts of the recordings, put them all together, or engineered them, and kind of helped collaborated with another one of the members to kind of reorchestrate. You called it remix, which I think is like such the right word. And then another member recorded footage of, from her immediate community, people dancing. I hope we'll get to see it. It's very, very beautiful. But it was all led by the members. There's so much incredible skill in these young people, and they really ran with that.
And that's really, really wonderful. So I have a note here about the Solace Project. What is that?
Should I go?
Go ahead, Lennox. Do it. Take us away.
So every year, ACG has something called Acg Fest, which is where a bunch of guitarists from all around the state and beyond congregate somewhere here near Austin in Texas. And there's a bunch of workshops and a lot of other classical guitar community-oriented events. And the sort of centerpiece of Acg Fest is playing a new composition that won Acg Fest Composition Contest of the Year, and having everyone come together and play that before as a pre-show for the concert that happens that weekend usually. And it's like 100 guitarists on stage playing this new piece and premiering it, and it's awesome. And it's something that, everyone knows is going to happen, that we look forward to. And so obviously there was already a composition that we were all going to play at Acg Fest, and that was Solace. And so, I mean, you can't just like not premiere a piece like that when you've been looking forward to it for months. Yeah. So Acg had people from all around the nation do the same remote recording along to it and submitting footage and photos of things that bring them solace. And it just, it was just another reminder of like, yeah, we can make music, we have all these barriers, but we're still gonna come together, and there's a delay in experiencing this new piece that we would have premiered together on stage with 100 other people, but like, we still made it,
Yeah.
So that I wasn't on the back end of that, but I did participate and submit footage of my fish.
Shrimp.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, I have a question, but before I ask this, just want to let everyone out there watching know that you can ask questions too for anything I've missed. But what do you guys have? It seems like you guys have been incredibly innovative. You've pivoted very, very quickly, and it's really inspiring that you persevere in bringing connectedness and music to the world right now. So what do you have planned for the fall?
Well, it's all coming into shape right now. It's really in three parts for our concert presentations that really anybody can participate in. We've focused. We've kind of fallen in love with this process of doing live streaming events because they're like almost impossible and insane, and they're wonderful. Like, for example, we just did a live stream from the Adirondack Mountains, violin and guitarists, a couple weeks ago. in partnership with Austin Chamber Music Center. So we're going to continue doing that on a national kind of setting. So we'll be bringing some extraordinary artists like Pepe Romero, coming in from California in his home, and people from Arizona, Miami, just around our country to showcase incredible artists in interesting ways. And then we have a big focus on our community and the artists that are here who are making work that are about our time, that are about our experience here in Austin. And really, it's a process piece interacting with many different people. And those, we hope, as they crystallize, will include Oliver Rajamani, it'll include One World Theater, it'll include Laguna Gloria, and some really, Claire Puckett from Mother Falcon. I mean, some really interesting people making music about our time and our place. And hopefully in a way that's really not about what we used to do.
Yeah.
It's about what is happening right now. And I'm excited about that. And then we have some partnerships with Mexicarte and creating some micro commissions, a bunch of new music about our world, and I hope some very inventive things. All those will be available and really published over the course of August.
Wow.
As that's, so people will know when to expect them to be coming out.
That's amazing. All I'm getting done is I'm eating ice cream, but you guys, you're doing a lot of amazing things. Okay, we have a question here. The question is, who are some of your favorite classical guitarists of all time? But let's expand it to just guitarists in general.
Lennox? Like? Oh, well, there's so, I'm professionally compromised. I hired all the guitarists, so oh. I'm gonna defer to Lennox.
It's too hard. There's so many great ones that are alive, and a lot of, legendary composers for the guitar. Don't make me choose. Please don't.
I'm going to give a weird or a complicated answer. I love artists who show themselves and are able to connect. And the first artist we're going to have is Pepe Romero. Pepe has been making music on the stage for 40 years and is connected to a time that is gone in Spain. He's deep and he's profound, and I want him to be my grandpa. I love this guy, and I so experience a connection with him. So I can say Pepe Romero.
All right, someone for me to Google later and listen to. Okay, so we ask everyone this, but do you guys have a favorite long center memory?
All right, so the first time I performed, like not in a, teacher's studio rehearsal, recital, hello words, was around that 6th grade-ish time as an ensemble on stage. And I think around that time, one of those first performances, we were opening up for Grisha, and I got lost. Like, I got so lost backstage. I don't know how or why. I think I was trying to find a bathroom. I eventually found it. But I was in a place where I wasn't supposed to be, and there were just stairs everywhere, and I was like, what the heck? And then I'm walking, and then I hear like guitar. I'm like, guitar? And then Grisha's right there, the doors just open, and then I just make eye contact with him, and as he continues playing, I'm like, I am in the wrong place, but holy cow. So that is my favorite and most fresh long center memory that stays with me.
It's a labyrinth, right? It's totally a labyrinth back there. It's amazing. It's kind of fun. I have my favorite memory. Lennox, you were there. It's the very first year of the Austin Classical Guitar Youth Orchestra. We were playing our very first performance on the stage of the Long Center for 1,000 or 2 people. I had conducted one other time in my life. I was standing on the side of the stage, and all of the students all the members were sitting there, and they seemed good, but I swear I was so scared. I was like so scared because it was we picked something really hard. We were right at the edge of what we could do. And I remember looking at Samantha Brenner, who was helping ACG at that time. And she just looked at me and she said, you know, she's so wonderful. She said, "You got this." And I thought, man, that was exactly what I needed to hear. And I have to say, it allowed me to meet the young performers where they were, and they weren't scared. They were ready, and they really they were amazing, and did something very difficult in a beautiful way.
I love that. I love that Long Center has been part of your journeys in meaningful ways. All right, guys, I think that's all we have time for. Thank you both so much for joining us this week on Long Story Short Members Chat. Thanks to all of the members out there watching. The Long Center appreciates your support. If you'd like to join us live for another taping of Long Story Short, check out our membership page at thelongcenter.org. Special thanks to Joe and Lennox and Austin Classical Guitar for sharing all of the amazing things you're doing. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you, Shay.
Thank you.
Long Center.
Bye.